mindset coach and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the fam.
Hello. Welcome everyone to the Valentine's edition, the love edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. It is Wake Up Wednesday. Wake Up Wednesday. Are you awake? I know you might be awake physically, but are you present? Are you awake mentally? Are you awake spiritually? Are you awake and aware of what's going on around you? We want full awakeness, fully tapped in and ready to experience and create the life that it is that you desire. And that requires intentionality. On Wake Up Wednesday, we talk about being intentional. Intentionality is a tool. It can be used at any point in time to create and to shift your focus and to direct your path, because you have decided what it is that you're working towards, and you do the work that aligns with that, right? Intentionality is a way of being. It's a way of life. It's a way of showing up, meaning that I am aware. I'm self-aware. I know what's going on inside of me. I'm aware of my surroundings. I can see what's happening externally and how I either need to give myself some space from what's going on, or how I might be the very thing that needs to shift that energy. Or maybe there's a huge opportunity in front of me and I'm missing it because I'm focused on something else. And so when you're awake, you're looking not just at what you can see, but you're looking through at all levels to experience your entire existence. And when you are awake, all possibilities are in front of you. You don't just feel what you feel and see what you see, but you're looking beyond that and you're asking yourself, what do I want to get out of this moment? What do I want to contribute to this experience? How do I want to show up? Why do I even want to show up? Why is this important to me? Does this align with my values? When you are asking yourself those types of questions and tapped in at that level, opportunities will not pass you by. Something that the next person may completely miss will scream and grab your attention, because you're looking for the opportunities, the possibilities, the good in whatever situation is going on around you. So to that end, we do have a quote for today, and it is: living with intention means being present in each moment and choosing your responses wisely. That small sentence has a lot packed into it. First of all, it talks about how you're living intentionally. You are not on autopilot. You are not just going through the motions. You are not just being, but you are completely aware and tapped in, and you have a purpose, a reason, an intention for the time that you're experiencing right now. Brian and I were laughing right before the call started about moving a little slow this morning, because it's only Wednesday, but it's already been a pretty jam-packed week. But we were intentional about being here. Jay, I won't even have to say what's going on with him. As soon as he opens his mouth, you're going to hear that he's a little gruff today. He's starting to be a little under the weather, but intentional. Denise has been out of the country for a few months and just made it back in, dealing with jet lag, trying to adjust to the environment again now that she's in a different time zone and has had those flights and all of that good stuff. Yet she's here. That's intention. Some people say it's commitment, yes, but in order to be committed to something, you have to intend, you have to determine what that something is. And that requires you to be awake and aware and making decisions. Intention means setting what your choices are going to be even before it's time to make that choice, because the choices become easy when they align with your intentions, your goals, your values. When you're clear on those things, it's so much easier to be intentional. It's so much easier to say yes and to say no, because either the things that are coming your way align with what it is that you're creating, or they don't. And if they don't align, then you can easily ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the point? And sometimes it may be there's a good reason. It's not aligning with my goals, but I've carved out some time to support something that's going on somewhere else. Very fair, very normal thing to do. Or it does align with my goals, so I'm going in full force. But when you ask yourself why, and you're not doing it because of a commitment you've made elsewhere, you're not doing it because it aligns with your goals and it's going to help you get there. You ask yourself why, and you can't even come up with a good reason. Maybe it's because it's what you've always done. It's the way you've always behaved. It's how you typically respond. It's just what I do. It's just who I am. It's just how I'm wired. If you ever hear yourself saying things like that, take a step back and really spend some time thinking about that. Why? What's the purpose? Why do I respond this way? Why am I spending my energy, my focus, my time, the resources that I can't get back? Why am I spending those on this activity if it's not supporting my goals or some commitment that I've made? And sometimes you'll find out it's just habit. It's habit. Your life may have changed, but the way you see your life and the way you respond within your life may not have changed yet, because you haven't caught up, you haven't continued to pace yet and integrate those new experiences and those new behaviors and those new ways of thinking completely into how you show up. Pacing is important, taking the time to make those small consistent steps so that you have the opportunity to really grab hold of that new behavior, because in doing so, in integrating it, it becomes your new default behavior. It becomes the way you show up, and it allows you to be able to support and to extend whatever success it is that you're working towards. You'll get there, and you'll be able to stay there, because you're not a one and done quick fix type of person. You've done the work, right? You've rolled up your sleeves, you've gotten your hands dirty, you figured out really how to be and how to do the things necessary to have the life that you desire. And in doing that, you end up with the skills that you need to support that new life as it unfolds. So that's in living intentional. And then you have to be present. What do I want out of this moment? What's important for me right now? What's this moment teaching me? There's all kinds of questions and answers that are right in front of you. And a lot of times we're looking past them because we're looking for the end result. We're looking for something that's coming. And while we're looking for something that's coming, we're missing what is. Don't miss what is, what's happening right now. What's the opportunity in front of you right now in this moment? Maybe things are going awry and you're the only person that can see it. You've got a gift of calming a situation down. You have a gift of uplifting a person who's down. You can see what's happening in this moment. And because you see it, you can solve the right problem, right? If I'm in pain, right, and it's my knee that's hurting, in all of your good intentions, if you bandage my arm, you're not going to help what's really hurting me. You've been busy. You've contributed to the situation. You've been kind. You've shown me some grace and some attention. But because you didn't really figure out what was happening, you put all that focus and attention on the wrong thing. So don't bandage an elbow when it's a knee that's hurting. And in order for you to do that, you've got to really look at the situation and understand where the real work needs to be done. Where should I be focused? What's really going on? When we take the time to answer those questions for us, we solve the right problem. We focus on the right things. We put our energy, our efforts, our attention, we put all that good stuff into the right place. And intention allows you to do that. Being present allows you to do that. Looking at the current moment, not the moment that's to come, not what's going to happen next week, but in this moment, what is my contribution? In this moment, what's my gift? What am I receiving? And when you look at every moment like that, your life is so much richer, right? And you are so much more intentional about how you show up. So you're responsive. You're not reacting to the situation that's around you. And that's the end of Amy's quote, choosing your responses wisely, right? In choosing a wise response, you've clicked in. Not only do you feel what's going on, but you've also evaluated the situation, giving yourself that beat, just a little pause, a little bit of space to process and decide the best way for you to show up. And in doing that, you respond wisely. You respond as your best self. When I am reactionary, and I'm typically just based out of my feelings, and usually, and I was going to say usually negative feelings, but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes in my excitement, sometimes I get so pumped up, so excited, so into what's going on around me that I can react as well and do something out of that excitement that if I had just taken a moment and thought, I may have taken a different route. So even it could be positive or negative, the experience. But if you are reacting, you're short circuiting your opportunity to process and make sure that you're doing the next best thing. You're doing a thing, you're doing something, you're reacting. But is it the next best thing? Is it the right thing for what you're experiencing? And are you going to look back in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years and go, I did the right thing in that moment? Or did I just react to the circumstances and did something because I felt like I had to respond in some sort of a way? Give yourself just a moment so that it is truly a response and not a reaction, and you won't go wrong. So living with intention means being present in each moment and choosing your responses wisely. Amy Leigh Mercree. So, Denise, I've said a lot as always. So let me go over to you and see if there's anything that's come up for you with the quote or any response to what I've shared so far.
Grand Rising, good morning. I have to say first,
Grand Rising.
you look absolutely radiant this morning. Like you look so
Thank
bright. You
you.
just this bright light. I can't even believe you claiming that you was tired. I can't see it. You need to go out today and go as many places
Thank you.
so
I
people could just
appreciate
see
that.
you.
I'm wearing my Valentine's red.
I'm not sure when the last time was that I was present for Wake Up Wednesday, but um, I took one of the quotes and wrote it out on this nice oversized card, and I keep it in the
Mhm.
front of my binder. I see it every day, a binder that I work out of. And that one is,
Uh-huh.
excuse me, living intentionally means waking up each morning with a clear sense of purpose and a commitment to live your life to the fullest. That's a Michael Hyatt um, quote. And I think it was over a month ago, maybe, that we used that one on Wake Up Wednesday. So I do look at it every
Mhm.
day. I appreciate that. The first thing we do after chopping up and laughing together, before the last thing we do, I should say, before the show starts, is pray and pray that that what we speak is not self-serving, but yet what needs to be said for his purpose rather than just our individual or our collective purpose. I appreciate that so much. It sets my day right. It sets me straight, you know? So I wanted to share what was on my heart this morning. I had the thing about being intention, that's my word for 2024, intentionality. And I have
Mhm.
it just kind of plastered everywhere. But what does it mean? You can be intentional about a lot of stuff. You can be intentional just by going to the gym. And for me,
Mhm.
it's really about, and it continues to be about, and I want it to be a lifelong growth thing about my mindset, my self-talk, my daily walk for Denise,
Mhm.
that I no
Uh-huh.
longer, and I really recognize this for myself, and I just love it. It's part of um, the growth I've experienced as an individual, as being a part of this family, this collective, and as paying attention and listening. Mostly it's because of how I talk to self. That has been the biggest change in my life, in my adult life, like over the last 10 years. How I talk to myself makes so much of a big difference. And before all of this, I didn't even realize. I just thought, hey, I was keeping myself straight. Like, go girl, I
Mhm.
was keeping myself straight. I was keeping myself positive. I was keeping myself up. But I wasn't. If you're negative self-talking, that's not positive, in any way. But you might think that you're being very intentional about how you move forward. So it's like a reminder for myself and a reminder for anybody else who does it, that tough self-talk is not always the best. It still has to be uplifting. It still has to be full of love, and it has to be full of the same words you give to other people when you're trying to lift them up. We have to show ourselves some grace first so that we can give it to others. But the last thing I was going to say is the main thing is I no longer allow any force to kind of come in and throw a wrench in my game or trip me up for the day. That's the biggest part. And I have
I love it.
quite a few. I'm not sure what it is. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm praying about it. But quite a few of my closest friends and family members have been quite emotional since my return. Um, the fact that I'm traveling again soon, it's a little strange. I'm trying to make an adjustment to it. It's not negative. I don't know if it's fear or anxiety or the fact that I've just been gone 3.5 months, but it could have really thrown me off my game yesterday. If a person calls you and they're very emotional and you're in a business mindset and you're working on a website and you're doing all this work, you're kind of thrown off by it. But, I was able to listen with both ears. I was able to be positive and still go out of that
Mm-hmm.
conversation with my intention to keep my day on focus and yet still pray and think about that person's feelings and thoughts and concerns. I don't know that I would have
Mm-hmm.
been as emotionally ready for that, let's say even 6 months ago. I would have been like, geez, why are people coming up in here trying to mess up my day? Or, something. So I didn't have none of that. I didn't have any of that. I talked to God about it, and I asked him to give their heart some peace and give my heart maybe some direction as to how to, handle some of my relationships that are very important to me. At the same time, that
Mm-hmm.
people might not be feeling as excited as I am for this stage, for such a time as this in my life. And that's okay. That's okay. We all have our walk, and it may not always line up perfectly with what other people think they see for our lives. What do you see for your life? For your life. So that's kind of my take today. That was my take really on the quote that you provided today, which just drove me back to the original one, that I am living intentionally under his purpose and his guidance for my life. And if I'm doing that, then that's it. That's it. You put a period on it.
That is a great example because when you know that you're moving in your purpose, when you have done the mental work, the internal work, the connective work with your higher power, and you know that there's a purpose for what it is that you're doing and who it is that you are, then yeah, when those distractions pop up, you're able to be responsive. And it's beautiful that in that moment you were able to, one, take care of you and protect that calling, but at the same time be compassionate and empathetic for the other person or people. Because at the base of it all, they're probably saying, I sure do miss you. You've been gone longer than what you're usually gone, and we finally have you back, and you're already talking about leaving again. I'm gonna miss you. There's gonna be other, events that are gonna come up, and your face isn't gonna be there. So they're in their own experience, in whatever way, and it's probably based on the fact that they love you and like having you around. And when you're responsive, when you give yourself a moment, you can bring all of that in and temper your reaction so that it is loving and it's responsive to sometimes not even what they're saying, but what's behind what they're saying, what they're intending. Because sometimes people in their when you're speaking and when you're in the moment and you're emotional, sometimes what comes out can kind of throw you off balance because it doesn't sound, it doesn't sound so nice. It doesn't sound supportive, but just underneath it is somebody who just wants you around, just wants to have your physical presence a little bit longer. And when you see it like that, it becomes heartwarming instead of distracting, and you can manage the situation better, be more compassionate, be more loving. It's just about taking that moment and moving for a moment past self, and allowing yourself to be in that moment with the other person and experience it with them and be just that responsive. So thank you for that example. It's exactly what we're talking about. And we have those experiences all the time. And we have to ask ourselves, and sometimes it may be a little bit of hindsight, did I respond to that situation or did I react to that situation? And doing a little bit of self-assessment on the back end. Sometimes we hate looking backwards, not to beat yourself up. That's when looking backwards becomes a problem, when you use it as an admonishment and it, reiterating to yourself why you're not this or you're not that. But when you use it as a lesson, in that moment, somebody was really hurting and reaching out. And because of where my head was, I missed it. And I gave them a personal reaction instead of a loving response. And you can see it sometimes when you look back at a situation and how it played out. And then you can walk your way through it. This is how I'm going to handle this in the future. And you role play and you actually say the words out loud sometimes. The next time this happens, this is how I'm going to respond instead of reacting the way I did. And if you really, reacted badly, you have the time to go, oh, you know what? You call them. You go see them. You do whatever. In that moment, I missed it. Now that I think about it, you were really being loving. You were being kind. You were saying you want this, and I was thinking so much about something else that I missed what you were saying. And I think my reaction wasn't as good as I would have liked it to be. Forgive me for that. Do you still want to talk about it? It gives you the opportunity to repair quickly before something becomes a wound, right? While it's just a scratch and it's not infected and it hasn't become this big old thing, we can repair, right? And rebuild bridges that we accidentally, started to weaken. And so that's the beauty of, as you adjust your mindset, you'll have examples like what Denise shared so well with us. In that moment, it would have been easy to react. Well, what about me and what I want? You could certainly be more supportive. I'm changing the world. I'm impacting lives. And you over here boo-hooing and making, you can really, without even thinking, go down a path and ignite a situation instead of, making it better. But because of the work that she's done and because of the importance of her relationships and having that importance in the forefront of her mind, she's able to respond instead of react. Beautiful example, sister. Thank you for sharing that with us. Conchita, I was wondering where you were. She says, wonderful Wednesday. It's truly another amazing day. Happy hearts to everyone. Happy heart to you too, my friend. Thank you for being with us as always. So, Brian, are you in a position to where you can share this morning? I hear a whole lot of nothing going on. All right, so Jay says
Yes,
Brian. I
I
don't think
am.
there he
Yes,
is.
I am. I'm here. I love what Denise was saying. Denise said something
Mhm.
so profound, so amazing. You know what? Where I learned that? I learned that skill. I learned that trait from being a dad. Your
Mhm.
kids come in all the time. They're always coming in. They're always coming in. They're always saying, hey, I need you to do such and such. Hey, I need you to, hey, I want to show you this. Hey. And they're not saying it because they're trying to get in your way or they don't care about what you got going on. They're saying it because they love you and they want you to know what they've done because they want you to look at them the way they are looking at you. And that's what people do. Grown people. Nobody ever really grows up. We're all big kids. We're all big kids trying to figure it out. And when we come around people that we know and we love, we wanna shout it out from the mountaintops. Hey, I love you. Even if I'm getting in your way. We do it. I do it to my daughter all the time. I'm all in her way because I want to be around her. I love her. She be like, Dad, you gotta back up. You're in my space. I got you. I'm gonna back up. I'm out your space. That is intentionality, right? I was intentional. I was awake enough to listen to her. I put something in the private chat this morning about uh, how you can manifest your entire life. The way that you control your thoughts, your focus, and your attention, that is your power. When you become woke, you see things differently. You respond to people differently. You respond to actions differently. When people upset you, you don't see it the same way. Even if I don't believe that that's the way you intended it, that's the way I'm going to respond to it because I'm being intentional. I hope that you would be as intentional. One of the things that I've learned from creating content is a better understanding of self. When you're able to better understand yourself, then you're better able to understand the people that you're talking to. Like you were saying earlier, Cassandra, I'm not trying to fix your knee if your arm's hurt, right? And it's the same thing with the content that you create. You have to learn yourself in order to be able to learn the people that you're talking to. And I'm not talking strictly from a business standpoint. I mean the content that you have, the conversations that you have when you go out in public, when somebody upsets you, when somebody cuts you off in traffic. Intentionality starts with practice. Practice starts with commitment. Commitment starts with understanding where you're going and what you want. When you have those things, when they're combined, it forms that intentionality, right? You control the power over your life. Your attention and your focus, that's your power. That's your intentionality. Focus on that. I love what you said, Denise. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Good stuff as always. Do you have that written down, the last part you just said, or was that just flowing out of your head?
Nah, that just flowed.
Can
Oh,
I
you
say
probably
something?
can't repeat it then.
I
That was
can't. I
so
can't
good.
even remember.
You can't? Darn it.
No.
I wanted to
I should have
say
picked up my pencils earlier. Sorry, Denise.
that's one of the reasons I go back and watch the shows, because I pick up so much more after.
I
You
know
know,
that was
Because in
good.
the moment, yeah, one thing Brian pointed out about when you're a parent, kids are constantly tugging on you all the time. I think every parent
Mhm.
can relate to that. They're tugging on you, they're talking to you, they're talking at you. They're constant. It's because they want you in their space. They want to be in your space. They want you a part of everything. And I think
Yes.
when my children were younger, I appreciate, but I've always loved this dadpreneur. That was how I started following Brian, is because he was always talking about his kids. I was like, who's this guy always
Right.
talking about his kids? And you know, but he always reminds me of those moments that I absolutely just cherish when
Hmm.
my children were growing up, and they're now 23 and 27. And I really cherish those memories. And I even talk about it with them. We laugh about it, how they used to be at my feet, and sometimes I would say, can I just finish this real quick? And they're like, nope, mom, it's movie time. They make you go out and enjoy life. Thanks for the reminder, Brian. Love your share.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Thank you for the addition to that as well, and continuing to take us back just a little bit, because I really love, and I think that's one of the things that all of us have in common is we do speak about those moments in our lives that relate to whatever the topic is. And universal experiences are just that. They're universal. If you've been a parent, if you've been a teacher, if you've been in some role where you've had folks who just absolutely want to be in, they want your attention, they want your focus, they wanted my kids to go, mom, because I grew up in a big family and we laugh about it all the time. I could do my homework in the midst of whatever was going on around me, whatever. I could read my book, whatever it is that I'm focused on. I can go there, and then everything else fades to the background. It becomes like just white noise. And I hear it. I know there's things happening, but I'm not in that wavelength at all, and it's just happening in the background. And so it's a habit that I formed as a young person so that I could focus and do whatever it was I was trying to do despite activity around me. Oh, but as a parent, your kids will let you know, mom, are you listening? I'm trying to tell you something. And sometimes they'll even grab your face and pull you to them because they want that undivided attention. They want to know that you see what they've done. They want to hear you cheer and know that you're proud. And so being present and learning to be in that moment and to accept those moments for what they are is amazing. And I love it when you guys take us back and give us those examples, because it's so relatable. It really helps us to take in what it is that we're talking about. I see my mom joined us. She says good morning, fam. And she said, you got that honestly, daughter. Yeah, she can definitely block out what's happening and focus on whatever it is that she's doing in that moment. And every skill is a double-edged sword. It's a good thing to be able to go in and to focus, but it also can be in the wrong, in certain situations it can be really bad because I'm so looking at what it is that I'm doing that I'm missing what's happening around me. And if my kids are, trying to get my attention and I'm missing it, that's not a good thing. So we have to, anything in extremes can go wrong really, really quickly. So knowing what your skills are and knowing how to manage them and not let them go too far, making sure that you're giving them, nurturing them so that they can develop. Yes, we have to do that. But ours, the things that are we're known for, the things that are our skills, can also be an Achilles heel if they're not applied correctly. So I have to be careful with my ability to focus because I can block out the wrong things. I can miss, an exit. I cannot see the warning signs. I cannot hear my baby when she's trying to show me something that she's done that she's really proud of. So when you know those things about yourself, then you can make the necessary adjustments so that your skills stay skills and don't become, Achilles heels or something that can trip you up. That's the other reason why I love these conversations, because it allows us to really think and to go inward and deep and see ourselves maybe differently than we've seen ourselves before. And in those discoveries, there's opportunities for so much evolution, so much transformation. When you find something that you think you should do differently, you plan it and then you change it, right? But you're not going to do that if you don't see it in the first place. So being present, being intentional, being woke, those words come up a lot, but there's so much power behind them because it opens up the opportunity for the transformation, the opportunity for the success, whatever it is that you're looking for. Intentionality and self awareness will help you get there so much faster. My mom said Jay looks like he needs to release some nuggets. Well, Jay, I think you've been called up. By all means, release. What is it that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, so remember when we were talking about being gruff?
Yes. Yes, your voice
Well,
is a little gruffy, brother.
exactly. Well, first, let me say happy Valentine's Day to those of you who celebrate the day. You know, when you talk about being woke and having those relationships with people who love and care about you, there
Hmm.
have been many times in my life where I was called to basically present my culture and share my
Hmm.
culture with people. I've actually had a blessed life when it comes to traveling and sharing, and so you know, from time to time, Renee would joke, but miss me, right? She would say stuff like,
Hmm.
"Go on and be a jet setter." Right, leave me here by myself. I'm okay. I got
Hmm.
this. But she under that, I can hear her say, "I love you and I'm gonna miss you." That's what she's
Hmm.
really saying.
Hmm.
And so, you just have to be mindful of that, living with intention, right? But on the flip side of that, so I'm gonna be the devil's advocate and talk about intentionality from the opposite point of view.
Okay. You come on and be the angel's advocate. Come on, we ready. We ain't got no
Because
devils in here.
right, 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 absolutely. So when you talk about it, look at it like this: if those of us who hate change, right, and I hated
Mhm,
change for a long time, if we keep pushing against something that we need to change, we need to feel transformed in to be able to move forward, right? All that effort calls for intentionality.
mhm,
So if you're being so intentional against change, why can't you use that same energy towards actually transforming yourself and actually making that change, right? If you're using all that energy to say no, Imagine what you could do if you said yes.
Right.
Understand that the same energy you just used to want to stop that change that could positively impact your life, if you just used it and took that step in the other direction, using that same energy, you could go even further.
Absolutely.
All that energy you just used to stay stuck makes no sense at all if you put it into that mind frame,
Mm-hmm.
if you put
Absolutely.
it into that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's that conversation with that loved one or that family member who you always give advice to, who always ignores you. And I talked about this yesterday. It's like, why do I keep telling you stuff and you keep ignoring me? What you're doing is you're trying to validate being stuck. Stop validating yourself to being stuck. Take
Right.
that same intentionality and use it for your true purpose and move forward to where you should be. That's where you should understand the difference in that mindset. And if we're looking at mindset, I'm going to go to a Bible verse,
Mm-hmm.
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 24 and 25.
Okay.
So by faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to endure ill treatment with the people of God than to enjoy the passing pleasures of sin. So what does that all mean? Well, really, the verse is talking about the powerful example of how faith can guide our choices and actions,
Mm-hmm.
allowing us to make those really important decisions that align with our deepest values,
Mm-hmm.
even in the face of opposition or adversity. Taking all that energy, instead of focusing on what is negative, to focus on what is positive. Moses had the ability to just sit back and enjoy the lap of luxury. And for a lot of us, he aligned more with the Hebrew slaves in his court than with those in the Pharaoh's court, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would he do that? Because there is positivity in that because of how he chose to believe. Really, it's that intentionality in faith that the verse is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionality comes with one word to me, and that's decisiveness. Moses didn't like passively accept his circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or that allure of the lap of luxury. He intentionally embraced his identity and destiny as a servant of God, and he chose his spiritual values over that temporary gratification. So if Moses, who was able to help free Hebrew slaves,
Mm-hmm.
used that intentionality to do that, imagine what we could do instead of focusing on being stuck,
Mm-hmm.
to focus on being positive and where we could go with that intentionality, be decisive and take that step in that different direction. Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Intentionality. That is a very prolific example, right? We will have times in our lives where we are lured by ease, comfort, luxury. And that's one of the things that was ringing clearly in my head as you were talking is when you say being stuck, it may be as simple as being comfortable, right? You are in your comfort zone. You are in what you know how to move, how to be, what to do in that space. I've been there in my career before where it was just so easy. And knowing when I to take on that next position, the ease was going to be gone for a bit. I was going to have to learn the language in that new space. I would have to learn what the expectations are. I'd have to skill myself up to go from, new in the space to really able to manage the space. And it's uncomfortable. We laugh about it now because me and my team have been less than a year in the space that we're in now. And we were it in that new space. We knew our stuff. People knew us. We were well respected for what it was that we were doing, which led to the next opportunity that moved us all. For I think maybe one or two people didn't come, but almost the entire team into a bigger opportunity. And I'm leading this team out of comfort, but into opportunity. There's a larger scale, there's a larger audience, there's bigger opportunities. But in order to embrace them, you have to let go of what was. You have to let go of what's comfortable. You have to let go of what you know, and that place where it's like going from being the eighth grader, the big man on campus because you're the oldest set at the school, to being the freshman and being the new kids on the block all over again. It's uncomfortable. Transitions are uncomfortable. And we make that process so much more difficult because we're still hanging on to and of what in onto what was. When you're hanging on to what was, your fists are so tight that you're not in a position to receive what is and what's coming. So when you find yourself hanging on tight like that, ask yourself why. Am I hanging on to something because there's still work for me to do in this space? Or am I hanging on because of fear? Am I hanging on because I don't want to let go of the comfortable for the fear of what might be awaiting me in this new space? If it's fear based, if it's, I don't want to leave my comfort zone. My mom just said, let go and let God. That's it. You have to let go and walk boldly into that new space. And boldly does not mean you're not fearful. Boldly does not mean there's not some doubt there. It doesn't mean that you're not shaking, right? You're going through all of those emotions. But what makes you bold is that you do it anyway. Despite all of those things, you let go and you take that next step and you give yourself the opportunity to experience what's next for you. Many of us are still in places that we should have graduated from 10 years ago. But because that place is comfortable, because we've mastered that space and we don't want to go through the discomfort of having to master something else, we keep holding on. And we are truly stuck. We are stuck because we will not let go. We will not venture outside of our comfort zone. All of our gifts, all of the possibilities, all of the level up, the goals, the things that we want are on the other side of our comfort zone. So in order to have them, we have to let go. We have to take that walk, right? Just take that next step. You can't see to the end. You don't need to. It's one step at a time. It's one decision at a time, making your way through that process, and you'll get there and you'll be glad you did. Most of our regrets comes from the choices that the opportunities that we let go by. Even when things don't unfold exactly the way we want it, we typically are more disappointed for not trying than we are for trying and not getting the result that we expected. So let go, step outside your comfort zone and see what's out there for you. Conchita said, that's what's interesting about intentionality. It can be a blessing and a curse if we don't master our energy properly. Be laser focused, yet remain present in the moment. When I read that, the first thing that came to my mind was a road trip, right? So I'm in Austin and I need to go visit my parents about 2.5 hours away. So I'm intentional about where it is that I'm going. I've been there before, know how to get there, could probably make the trip, with my brain on autopilot, right? I know the route. But If you're in Texas, you know one thing that we're famous for is construction. There is construction all around us all the time. We are forever doing something to some road. So I'm intentional about where I'm going, but I need to be present and in the moment to make sure that I get there safely. Is there a roadblock because there's construction going on? Do I need to decrease my speed because there's construction going on? Do I need to exit and follow a detour because there's the way that I usually go is obstructed now and I can't take that straight route? That's being present and taking in the signs and what's happening in this present moment. My intentionality has not changed at all. My destination, my intention is still to get to my parents' house. But in being present, I'm able to make good decisions in the moment to make sure that I get there and I get there safely. I'm paying attention to the road signs. I'm paying attention to the speed limit. I'm paying attention to the drivers around me, right? I'm present. I'm present, but my intention is still the same. So, yes, we have to master being present and having an intention, a focus, a desire. Those two work well together. One is the outcome, the other is minding yourself along the way and making sure that you're aware of what's going on around you. So, thank you for that because that stirred a whole nother set of thoughts for me, Conchita. Deshay says, attending the event from Ethiopia on behalf of the new episode of Africa. Welcome, Deshay. My mom said, preach, Jay. And she said, let's see, there's another comment down here. Where did it go? Almost lost it. There we go. Conchita again, great scriptural example of intentional living. Thanks, Jay, for your commentary of the passage as it relates to faith, guiding our actions and our choices. And then there's Sean Michael. Hello, Sean. He says, hello at Cassandra Terry, the manifesting miracle maker and all. Welcome back, Sean. It's always great to have you with us. All right. So I think we have made our way around the room. We have heard from all four of us as well as from our guest. I see there's a couple of folks who joined us on Instagram. Hello, Nikki and Charlie. I don't know if you still go by Charlie. You may just be Charles now because we grow up and we get our official names. But you know you're going to always be Charlie to me. It is great to see you there. That's a classmate from good old Farmersville, Texas. Always good to see some representation from home. And guys, speaking of being intentional, on this Valentine's Day, my dad's having a little surgery this morning. And my mom just said that they've made it at the hospital. So everybody send prayers, love, and light to my dad, that the surgery goes smooth and well, and he has a quick recovery. And I always pray for the doctors and everyone who is attending to my loved ones, that they make the right decisions for my loved ones' health. They give them what they need when they need it. And so we are sending that to you guys. Give him a hug and call me, guys, as soon as he comes out of the surgery and he's in recovery. All right. I think everything has been said and everything has been done. Did I miss anything? Jay, if you're talking, you're muted. No, you can't. Oh, your throat. Okay. And we're sending up prayers for you as well, that the enemy keeps attacking your vessel, right? You're a storyteller and you bring scripture on a daily basis. So if he can silence you, that would be what he would imagine to be a win. But he's wrong. Because if you can't speak it, you're going to write it. You're going to feel it. You're going to get that message out one way or the other. So leave my friend alone because he's not going to stop talking. He's not going to stop bringing the word. We are here to do what it is that God has assigned for us to do. And you're already defeated. So take your tea, take your rest, have your meds, and release that spirit from your throat, because all is well. And we will hear you loud and clear tomorrow in Jesus' name. All right, Conchita says, praying for your dad's strength and recovery. Thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate that. I think we can go to the quote one more time just to remind you guys of today's conversation, and then it is a wrap. It is a wrap. We still have iwanttosoar.com scrolling at the bottom. That's my challenge that kicks off next week on the 20th and runs through the 24th. We're going to get together for an hour or so today, a day next week, an hour or so each day. And we'll be going through SOAR, what SOAR means. Each day will be dedicated to one of the letters of SOAR: strengths, overcoming obstacles, achieving goals, and building a resilient mindset. And when you do those things, you are preparing yourself to win at whatever it is that you are going for. And so next week, we'll really dig into SOAR and how you can integrate those things into your life, build the plan that you need for success. And we'll be here to support you along the way. So go to iwanttosoar.com. That will allow you to take an assessment. And after you take the assessment, it'll give you an idea of where you are in the SOAR process. It helps you to see, based on how you've answered the questions, where you're strong and where there's areas that you can develop. And then you and I can have 15-minute powwow to go over the assessment and give you some ideas on how to continue to move forward. And then we, on the 20th, will have the challenge and dig deeper into that. And with the assessment in your pocket, right in front of you, knowing what it is that you personally need to work on, you can take even better advantage of that, the 4-day challenge, and make sure that you're doing the work that's personally going to help you develop the skills, the mindset necessary to achieve the goals that you have for your life. So we are preparing to soar in 2024. That's what it's all about. So go to iwanttosoar.com to get more information and to take your assessment and to register for next week's challenge. So that is it for today, guys. We will be back here tomorrow morning, 7:15 a.m. Central.
Thank you for joining us for this episode
Thursday, right?
of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show.
So
we hope that you join us tomorrow for another episode.
So remember
advertising or
quote,
sponsorship
with
questions,
intention,
reach out to Cassandra or any one of the Fam 5 on their LinkedIn profiles.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone. See you back here tomorrow.